Let me introduce you to a basic mathematical machine with just two rules. It's just a grid of squares, each one either white or black, and a little ant sitting on one of them. It's facing some arbitrary direction, and it only knows how to do two things. If it's on a white square, turn right. Flip the square to black and step forward. If it's on a black square, turn left. Color the square white and step forward. That's the whole machine. No memory, nothing random, started the same way, and it does the exact same thing. Every single time. So before we run it, what do you think happens? Two rules this simple can only make something simple, right? Probably some little pattern that loops around and around and around and repeats. Something that you've probably doodled before on graph paper and know the ending to. Let's actually run it though. And let's enter the mathematical world of Langton's ants. We drop the ant on a blank white grid, facing up, and let it go. And at first, it's exactly what you'd expect. It takes a few steps, turns back, and leaves a small, neat shape behind. A few more steps, and the shape grows. And it's usually kind of pretty, as well as being pretty much symmetric on both sides. Something you look at and go, yeah, okay, simple rules, simple picture. Where's this guy going with this? And he keeps behaving. 100 steps, 200. It looks like something you could solve. Like, if you just watch closely enough, you'd catch the pattern instantly and know exactly what it does next. But it's messing with you. That uniform shape is not gonna last. A few hundred steps in, that nice, even pattern just breaks. One edge goes rough, then another. The ant starts watering off and coming back, walking all over the stuff it already did. And that clean, little shape falls apart into a mess. Black and white splattered everywhere. Nothing even, nothing you can point at and name. Give it a couple thousand steps, and it's basically just random static. And now, you flip your guess completely, because you've seen this kind of thing before, right? Simple rules making a big mess, that's a classic story. The weather, a coastline, the whole tiny causes, huge chaos idea you see in every math video. So now you figure, okay, I get it. This ant makes noise, and it's just going to keep making noise forever, because there's nothing in there to find. No pattern, just chaos. And for about 10,000 steps, that guess seems completely right. That's when it all changes. And then, around 10,000 steps in, with no warning at all, the mess builds a highway. Out of nowhere, the ant stops wandering and starts doing something totally different. It creates a straight, slanted path, repeating the same chunk of pattern over and over, in a rhythm that never changes again. It's exactly 104 steps long, and each time through, the ant scoots 2 squares over and 2 squares up. And once it starts, it does not stop. The ant just drives down that road, straight out, forever. Like literally, forever. Even a billion steps from now, it'll still be on the same pattern. Nothing on this original 2 rules said anything about a road. Nothing in all that chaos gave you a hint it was coming. You can't point at a single moment and say, there, that's where the pattern was hiding. It just shows up on its own. And here's the part that really gets me. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody worked it out from the rules ahead of time. The only way anyone ever found this road, the only way we just found it, was to just run the thing and watch it happen. And now, this stops being a fun little experiment and gets kind of deep into the real theory. Because you think, okay, at least we can prove that the road always shows up. Start the ant on any pattern you want, and sooner or later, boom, road. And it really looks that way. Every setup that anyone's ever tried, and people, me included, have tried millions, and it always ends in a highway. But nobody can prove that. Right now, today, nobody knows for sure whether the road always shows up. It's an unsolved conjecture of a machine with just 2 rules. We're not totally in the dark though. Back in 1992, 2 mathematicians proved one thing, and it's a good one. No matter how you start the ant, it can never get stuck. It can never stay trapped in one little area forever. Let it run, and sooner or later, it has to break out past any fence you draw around it. It always wanders off to infinity. So that's where we're at. We can prove that the ant never stops spreading outwards. But we can't prove how. We know it escapes, we just can't say it builds a road to do it. For everything else, we're stuck right where you are, watching and waiting to see what it does. So I spent a while trying to push on this myself. Now the big question, let me be upfront, I didn't solve that and nobody has. But there's a smaller question sitting right next to it that I felt like maybe I could reach. Instead of, does the ant always build a road? I wondered, okay, if it builds a road, what does that road have to look like? It turns out, that's something you can actually get somewhere with. Here's the first piece. Every road we've ever seen drags a trail behind it, dumping black squares forever as it goes. But does it have to? Could there be a cleaner one? Some pattern that just slides along, leaving nothing at all? Basically a glider? Well, I was able to prove that can't happen. Not at any size, not at any speed, not ever. Every road this ant can build is forced to litter, and the amount it litters is always almost well for. The trick, if you want it, is kind of nice. You roll the whole plane up into a tube. So a pattern sliding sideways forever becomes a loop going around and around. Then you count the amount of times the pattern crosses one line drawn that tube. If the pattern really were sliding cleanly, that count is forced to come out even. But anything that goes around that tube once has to cross an odd amount of times. Even and odd. It can't be both. So it can't exist. Another thing I was able to show is that the faster the road goes, the more it has to litter. There's an exact trade. The trail it drops is at least twice its speed. You don't get a road that's both fast and tidy. And third, the brute force one. I searched through every possible repeating road, up to 48 steps long. Billions of them. There are none. Zero. The road that Ant actually finds is 104 steps. So if there's some other secret highway hiding out there, it's at least 50 steps long. I should say this plainly. It's a preprint. It hasn't been through peer review. The paper and all the code is linked below. So if you're a mathematician and you're willing to review it, feel free to check it out. Every one of those results is about what a road has to look like if the ant finds one. The conjecture wall is still standing, exactly where it was, ready for people like you to take a crack at it. All of this brings up an obvious question. Why is something this simple so impossible to work out? Well, we can't predict the ant because the ant is literally too powerful. Watch what happens if we don't start it on a blank grid. Instead, we lay down a specific pattern of black squares first. One we set up on purpose. Do it right, and the ant's path stops becoming a random doodle and turns into a signal, running down a track like electricity down a wire. Now, send two of those signals into a little junction we built, and the ant comes out the far end having done real logic. An AND, where you only get a yes if both inputs were yes. Build it differently and you get an or not. Those are logic gates. That's literally the stuff a computer is built from. And in 2002, 3 mathematicians proved it outright. With the right starting grid, this ant can run any program a computer can run. Any program at all. It's a full computer, hiding inside 2 rules and a dot that turns left and right. And that is exactly why we can't predict it. Asking what will the ant do eventually isn't a question anymore. It's the same as asking what any computer program will do eventually. Will it stop or run forever? And that question has no answer. We haven't cracked it yet. It's literally been proven that nobody can ever answer it. So the ant being unpredictable isn't us being slow. It's built into the thing itself. So step back and look at what we just covered. We started with the dumbest machine you can possibly imagine. A dot that turns left or right and flips a square. We figured that we'd get a doodle. Instead, we got neat little patterns. After that, total chaos. After that, a road that built itself out of nothing. Then, proof it can never be boxed in, and proof that it can run any program ever written, which means that what it'll do next is, in the deepest way there is, impossible to know. And all of that was already in there, in 2 rules. Nobody added it later. It was sitting inside turn left, turn right the entire time, just waiting for someone to run it long enough to see it. That's the thing this little ant leaves you with, and you kinda can't unsee it once you have. Complicated stuff does not need a complicated cause. The wildest behavior there is, chaos, patterns, even computers themselves, can fall out of rules simple enough for a kid to follow. Conway's Game of Life does it. Wolfram's Little Grids do it. Maybe the whole universe does it too. Simple rules running for a long, long time, slowly turning into everything. 2 rules, 1 ant. A road to infinity nobody saw coming. Run the simplest things far enough, and turns out they can hold the whole world. Make sure to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one. Peace out.